Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. That's Joe Smith. This is Paddock Live. We're going to be talking about all the latest Manchester United news, so make sure you are getting involved in the chat and the comments, hitting that like button, and if you're not doing already, subscribing to the channel. But first things first, City, pathetic. You're not even in Europe, mate.
Embarrassing. We are.
Hey, we're in Europe.
We didn't have to play in this round even because we're that good.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for you at the other end. We're chilling on the beach. They're still, doing something else.
Yeah.
Now they're not even doing that.
Losing twice to Real Madrid.
Pathetic.
Absolute frauds.
Yeah, that's shit.
That is shit. You know what I mean?
Does it feel a bit hollow though this year?
What? It doesn't feel like
usually the annual we're celebrating that City have been knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid moment.
Yeah.
It feels better than this.
Yeah.
What's happened?
I think part of the reason is they lost the first leg, so everyone thought they were going to lose anyway. Yeah. Secondly, they conceded after 4 minutes tonight, so you think, well, that's basically done. So there's not that drama. Plus, as you were pointing out just off camera, there's a good chance they weren't going to win it. Liverpool could win it this season.
I'd be more happy when Liverpool get knocked out.
Yeah, so it doesn't... And also, you can always laugh at City, but the fact we're so bad makes it difficult to sort of revel in anyone else's misery, because our misery is a bit worse than yours. Yeah. So we're still happy. We'll take it. Yeah, we'll take
and
the
also
fact
Liverpool dropped a couple of points.
Dropped a couple of points.
I think they're still going to win the league.
Well, yeah,
so
it's an okay day at the office.
It's a good day.
We could be stood here with City who turned it around against Madrid and Liverpool got another win. Yeah. But we're not quite there yet.
Almost best case scenario, but it's just everything's just a bit dead, isn't it?
It is a bit dead.
Yeah, numb inside. Should we get into some stories though? Because if you thought there was a bit of good news outside Manchester United, back here at home, things are shitter than ever, Jay. Look at this. The financial reports have come in. The pennies dropped.
Solid.
Great. I mean, great. Yeah.
Great.
We're looking for an apostrophe in there, are we not?
I think because they've done it as a pun.
Yeah.
It's
acceptable.
It's acceptable.
Because penny has dropped is what we're getting at, isn't it?
Yeah. But the pennies dropped. Yeah. Right, I get it.
I think we'll let it off.
Yeah.
It's nice that, because the pennies have dropped because we've got less pennies than we used to have. And also, have we realised something maybe? Has the penny dropped? That we need to do things differently at Manchester United? Let's have a look. United have announced that revenues have decreased by 12% in the last financial quarter. The club announced on Wednesday that revenues had dropped to 198 million for the final 3 months of 2024, down from 225.8 million for the same period 12 months previously. Overall, the club made an operating profit of £3 million, down from the 27.5 over the same period in 2023. After spending 14 million on the sacking of Erik ten Hag and his coaching staff, including the 4.1 cost of hiring, then dismissing former sporting director Dan Ashworth within 5 months, the announcement comes against the backdrop of the club making over 200 redundancies and raising matchday ticket prices to £66 per game, with no concessions for children or pensioners. Now, what we will say here is, operating profit of £3 million, there's not much wiggle room there, is there? Obviously, you can lose a bit of money and not get fined immediately, but if we were to have, let's say, and again, I'm not backing these redundancies or the ticket prices at all, but you can imagine they've saved us somewhere in the region of £3 million. However, it mentions here the much bigger savings we could have had by operating correctly and not. To me, the Dan Ashworth one I can almost forgive, because you bring someone new into the club and you never know whether something new is going to blend with something old. It might, fair enough, that part of the puzzle didn't fit. Everyone else did so far. But the Ten Hag one's the fucking ridiculous one, because what did that cost? 14.5 million. I don't know how much it would have cost in the summer. It wouldn't have been nothing, but did activating that extra year mean that we have to pay off more of his wages, another year's worth of his wages? It probably did. So we probably cost ourselves, I don't know, £7 million or £6 million just by doing that. That's the stupid one for me.
I think they're both stupid. I get your point.
They are both stupid.
I don't think Dan Ashworth could have been that fucking bad. I don't. No. I don't. What did he do? Like, just come in and chin Jim Ratcliffe? Well, do you know what I mean? No. Like, what did he do that was so bad that after 4 months they thought, let's just take the fucking £4 million hit on him because he's an absolute idiot. He just shats himself. He don't know what day it is. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that's the standard for being the sporting director at Man United? Yeah. Just not shitting yourself? Yeah. Hey mate, do you know what day it is? Sacked.
Yeah,
I would hope the standards are slightly higher than that.
But what was it? Was he that bad that he had to go? He had to get rid of him, And we had to waste all that money after spending months getting him in because it was just untenable to keep him. And now there's been this thing where we didn't even know if we were going to replace him. So did you not know whether you needed that role filling? That doesn't feel like it was a Dan Ashworth issue if you don't even know if you need that role anymore. That almost feels like it was a role that wasn't necessary. So again, it just feels like, you're right, that's probably not as bad as the Ten Hag thing. The Ten Hag thing, the reason that it annoyed me was I would have kept Ten Hag in the summer. I said it. Me and you were on Wembley way saying, we can give him a new contract. We love the guy. We've just won the FA Cup. Everything's great. Back-to-back trophies, all the rest of it. But Ineos went and interviewed all these other managers. Obviously, they didn't fancy Ten Hag because you don't interview other managers if you fancy him. They wouldn't go out now, would they, interviewing other managers saying, we love hammering. We're just having a look round. They interviewed other managers. They obviously didn't really back Ten Hag. They got rid of most of his coaching staff and replaced them, and he was sort of like, oh yeah, I'm okay with it. Well, you haven't got a choice anyway. Got rid of everyone above him, so it was a complete change apart from him. And then as soon as it went a bit patchy, went pretty bad, didn't it?
Yeah.
They got rid of him. They didn't go, well, we're going to give you the end of the season. They just went, right, it's November, whenever it was. Yeah. You're gone. Cost us a lot of money. It's all a shambles. And then when you throw in this, the fact that we're making over 200 redundancies and putting up ticket prices for certain tickets to 66 quid per game with no concessions for children or pensioners. That, to me, as a whole package, looks shambolic.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like you haven't got a jar of glue. What you're doing.
Well, they will think they've had to do that, but because of the mistakes they made.
Yeah.
It's like, we've got some money, we've got some decisions to make, we fucked them up, and you lot are going to bail us out.
Yeah.
That's what's happened. These 200 people are going to bail us out, and the people paying 66 quid a ticket are going to bail us out, to the tune of, what were they saying that's going to save them? Probably about 10, 15 million quid in that quarter. I think they said somewhere in the region of 40 million a year on the wages. I don't know if that was right. I did see that figure somewhere. And somewhere in the region of 4 or 5 million across that £66 per ticket. So basically, for this quarter, it saved them the money they wasted on bad decisions. So it literally is, we'll fuck it up and you can pay for it. That's just shit, innit?
Yeah.
It is shit.
It is shit.
You just got to start getting it right.
Yeah.
You get it right and everything's better. You get more money for finishing out of the league, you get the Champions League money, you get more money from fans because people are more willing to buy shirts, people are more willing to buy merch, people are more willing to do all of those things when you're winning football matches. That is the fix for everything. That's the thing the Glazers didn't get. They just saw what's the best sort of bang for your buck place to finish in the Premier League, and it's fourth. Because the cost that it takes you to go from fourth to first isn't worth the enhanced revenue. But if you finish first, you sell more shirts around the world, everything I've just said, it becomes so much easier to do anything in terms of making money. And that's all they have to do. Get Manchester United competing again. It's going to take a while, I get that. But don't do it by chucking the ticket prices up and just sacking more people till you make profit. Finish 8 places further up the league, and there's your 3 million, there's your 14 million, whatever it is. You sorted a 27.5 million. You can make that up. Didn't Andy Mitten say it was something like 2-3 million quid per place in the Premier League?
Something like that.
Right. So what's that? Finish 10 places higher and you've made that money back. And that's only to 5th. You're still not even in the Champions League. Just win football matches and hire the right people, buy the right players, and all of this will go away. You'll make profit hand over fist. Imagine the sponsorships we'd get if we won another league title or two. No comparison to what it is now. And instead of having to scrape everything together, and in the process, we might actually be getting worse. Because if you start cutting back on transfers and you start doing everything for the money saving right now, and I compared it to austerity the other day with Laurie Whitwell, I think it was Laurie Whitwell, just, as a bit of a joke. But when you look at, in a way that what the Conservatives did is, they saved money on everything and everything got worse. Because it's not being helped, it's not being invested in. United need not spend money we don't have, but concentrate on winning games. Take some risks to make the squad better and to help the manager. Don't be conservative and hold back on everything and then be surprised when your team's shit, your manager's shit, the fans don't want to be there, and you're 15th. That's what happens. There's consequences to bad decisions.
No, 100% agree. Whitterbird gifted 5 Stretford Paddock memberships. Thank you
very
for
much.
That. Very generous.
Cheers.
Sam Robert Shaw says, if reports of Ashworth wanting to hire Southgate are true, then money well spent, in my opinion. Like that emoji and laughing emoji. I mean, we don't know that. Some people have said that his shortlist consisted of managers that have Premier League experience. Others have said he was pushing for Thomas Frank.
Yeah,
Keep hearing
Frank
that
was
one.
The name I've heard
was the name I've heard.
But
also, even if that was what he was pushing for, you hired this guy.
Yeah.
So if you hired this guy and that was his idea and his idea was a bad one, then it's still your fault for hiring him.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It was a move that was stupid. Whichever way you look at it. Yes, maybe it was the right thing to get rid of him when you realised that he wasn't the right man for the job. But it was dumb to hire him in the first place. It's not a good move if you hire someone then have to sack them after a few months.
Yeah. Isn't that guy that we chose dead shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously some of that's on him, but you picked him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's not like you can just say, sort of absolve yourself of any blame whatsoever. We'll have to see what happens with all this. Dan United 94 says, reports of Ashworth changing the canteen menu to lists items such as Sir Alex Bergerson and Pizza Schmeichel. So Ratcliffe was like, get this clown out of here. Luke says,
I can see some
Jay, has this news affected your share price?
Oh, yeah,
I've still got my shares,
Jay.
Because I did a little bit of wheeler dealing with crypto and it didn't work out.
No.
So I've gone back to United shares.
Your stocks plummeted down to about 8 quid.
Oh dear.
So you bought back United recently.
Yeah.
How's it going?
I'm down.
Is it a red or a green?
It's red.
Text. Oh.
It's red. The red's the bad one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, look. Can you get my single? Can you see that? Can you see the red?
You're getting more out of focus rather than in focus.
Sorry. Can you see?
Look at that.
Red. I've told by my financial advisor that I've been doing it wrong because red is bad.
Yeah,
I thought Red United, up the Reds. Yeah. And he's like, no, you idiot.
Minus 3.8% is a bad thing.
You've literally lost all your money.
Yeah.
What are you doing? So I'm 3.8% down.
Yeah.
Which in monetary terms
is 3.8%.
Is 0.59 cents.
No, what?
Hey? Oh no, I put $20, so I'm $1.11 down.
Brilliant.
That's not good, is it?
No.
Can't sustain that for much longer.
But they're going to be making more people redundant, so you probably get your money back. There you go. Wreck-It Raf.
I like
nice.
that.
Can't argue with that.
Good film.
He got transferred a little bit early there, but I'm still happy with that. Wreck-It Raf. Raphael Varane has opened up on his often tense and complicated relationship with Erik ten Hag. It's a good pun, that, isn't it? Wreck-It Raf.
I like it. It's
really good. Who came up with that one?
Cristiano.
Well done, Cristiano.
Well done, Cristiano.
Very, very good.
Good lad.
Very good indeed. For people watching at home, they'll think that the fact that we have someone on called Ronaldo and now there's someone called Cristiano, it's like we only hire United names. It is mad, that, isn't it? Really?
I think it was the highlight of my career, introducing Cristiano to Ronaldo.
Did you get to do it?
I got to do it.
Honestly,
it felt surreal.
That's unbelievable.
The grin on my face was
like
ridiculous.
when chocolate met peanut butter.
It was. It was
like
like
Reese's peanut butter cup advert where they bang into each other.
Have you met Ronaldo?
Together, you could be the greatest footballer of all time.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's unbelievable.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
I now need a Reese's peanut butter cup. Anyway, let's get into this. Quite a big story, this, actually. Raphael Varane has opened up on his often tense and complicated relationship with Erik ten Hag. Varane described his relationship with ten Hag. It's hard to find the right words. It was very tense at times. Sometimes he made an effort to listen to the players' feedback. Sometimes he made decisions without listening to the players' feelings. Varane opened up on his own run-in with the manager. We had a robust discussion. We told each other some truths, but then I didn't play for almost 2 months, bloody hell. I said I didn't agree with certain ways of doing things regarding the relationship between him and the team. It wasn't something that I thought was good for the team because some of the players weren't at all satisfied. It was not good in terms of the relationship with the coach. It's a good, long, interesting interview.
You've got to read the whole thing because people have been taking clips and snippets. I'm going to get to that in a minute. And you can sort of look at it, you can almost push a narrative if you just take a certain bit and ignore some of the other bits. It seems like they did have an up and down relationship of intense and complicated. I think complicated is a good way to describe it because there was times he didn't get on. There was times when he played 10 games out of 12 towards the end of that season. He played in the cup final. Like, they obviously had at least enough respect for him to play a part in the trophy wins under Erik ten Hag and play a big part in the successes under Erik ten Hag. But it was obviously they weren't always vibing. I think he was dropped for the derby, wasn't he, at Old Trafford. But I like the Raphael Varane interview. I thought it was really good. And there's a couple of interesting things he said about like the culture and the dressing room and stuff like that. About how when he went, was it Lille he was at? From Lille to Real Madrid. And then when he was at Real Madrid, he said he was like a kid and he wasn't like, his job was just to basically just shut up and listen. Yeah. He wasn't expected to be a leader or to be one of the more vocal people because you're in a changing room,
19
room.
or whatever.
Yeah, you're a teenager in a dressing room full of people who are experienced and winning things, and how that's not always the case or hasn't always been the case at Manchester United. And it was just a really fascinating.
What, as in the kids don't always sit and listen?
I don't want to get it wrong myself, but I think the implication is it's like it's not quite the same at United. It's like people are coming in and there isn't always that great setup that you're walking into, which you kind of know. Yeah. Because when you go in at Real Madrid, you're into a well-oiled machine with loads of success, loads of experience. and you slot it in there. You come in at United, and it was when he came, you know, Ollie got sacked 4 months later or whatever. It was just a mess. But it's a really new and interesting interview. You need to read it because I don't want to give you the wrong idea. I'm just going to mention this as well because there's been a lot of noise on social media today because this was an article in the Athletic by who did the interview? Can we find out who did the interview?
Because she's a slightly lesser known journalist, isn't she?
Yeah, Charlotte.
But I think she did it in French as well, and it was obviously a very impressive interview, extensive, fantastic insight and all that. Obviously must have taken a while to set up and all that sort of stuff. So there you go, Charlotte Harper.
Charlotte Harper, who did the interview.
Yeah, deserves all the credit for
well
that.
done for doing that, great interview. But then, like, some of these aggregator accounts have just taken the entire interview. Was it Centre Devils or I think one of them's called? I shouldn't even signpost people that, forgive me. But they've been called out. Andy Mitten called them out, Laurie Whitwell called them out. Yeah. Like, look, we've done it where you take a bit of someone's interview and then you'll signpost them to the full interview. You go, you know, Adam Crafton's done an article on this and here's the article, But I think some accounts had literally copied and pasted the entire interview.
Like 16 or more passages from the interview.
Tweeted
one
it all
or two,
out.
obviously, we all do that. Everyone wants to talk about the news, hear the news, share the news. But
and then sticking a few of their own betting ads in there as well and just taking an inside interview, and obviously someone's worked hard on it, so they were called out about it, and I get it, because when you've done all the hard graft, it is annoying to see someone just piggyback off that and not even give you acknowledgement and credit for it, which was a bit silly. But good interview. I like Varane. One of the players who he pretty much always turned up, didn't he? In terms of performances.
I always say with Varane, you can count the number of bad games he had for United on one hand. Like, I know he had injury issues and people would have a go at him for that and this, that and the other, but he very, very, very rarely had a bad game for us. Very rare. Like, genuinely, I'm struggling to even think of any way you go, Varane had a stinker today.
Good relationship with the crowd as well. He's got the crowd going. A good player to watch.
There's one bit in this interview where he talks about how he's surprised that Ten Hag was given that extra time in this season, saying that he'd kind of lost, basically saying that he'd lost the dressing room. He said that the connection with the players wasn't there anymore, which is an interesting point, isn't it? Again, it goes back to the previous story about, you know, that money we wasted on Ten Hag and keeping him there. You think, obviously from the outside, like we said, I would have given him the full season because once you've backed him, once you start winning things, it's easy to stop winning things. You know, bringing a new manager in, there's no guarantee things will get better. But you'd hope Ineos and whoever it was made that decision, they must have spoken to senior players like Varane, surely. I know he left at the end of the season, but you'd think they'd have spoken to him in the summer and said, what is his relationship like with the team? What's going on here? Yeah.
He said, like...
Wasn't that outside the dressing room at Wembley?
And none of them would commit to backing him. He said he spoke to 6 United players and none of them would back Ten Hag. He said they didn't criticise him or weren't against him, but none of them would back, which is weird. Because you think one of them would say, yeah, he's the right man for the job. Well, apparently he said none of them would. None of them would fully commit to saying...
So did Ineos not know that? Did Ineos not know that he'd basically lost the dressing room? And if they did, why did they extend his contract? Like, they had 2 options. Back him and give him the season, or get rid of him. And stick to it. Again, you've either made the wrong decision, or you've made the wrong decision twice. Like, get rid of him when they should have kept him, but then they kept him, and then, keeping him when they should have got rid, and then they keep him, and then they get rid anyway. So he had no chance. Like, it's just mad to me that they've got it wrong there like that.
I like Amorim, but I'm struggling to see any decisions that Ineos have done that make me feel like, just from what I'm watching, that they know what they're doing.
No.
They just seem to be blundering around.
Omar Barada seems to speak quite well, and he's got a decent record at City. But again, it's hard to know what he's doing.
Whitterbird in the Super Chat says, do you ever think that Ineos have a plan to make it look so bad that the Glazers have to sell out as they can't do dividends? I don't think they can do dividends at the minute anyway. I think part of the Ratcliffe deal was no dividends for anyone for, was it
3 years?
3 years or something. Yeah. But we're going to get onto the Glazers in a minute. They have still fucked us. And we are still suffering because of that. Because there's been more stories today in the financial reports about the debt and how we're still in all this debt because of the Glazers, which I think we're going to get to a little bit later on.
Yes.
So we can go to the next one.
Right, what we got? Brazilian wax lyrical about Betis.
Brilliant.
Nice, isn't it?
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Love it.
Yeah, I love that.
Nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You like a Brazilian wax and that?
Like candles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, Yeah, I love a nice Brazilian wax, yeah.
Have you got some? Have you got one?
Brazilian wax?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, knowing you.
Loads of candles in our gaff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It seems to be, that's a very amazing that they got that photo, because a concrete football is just falling on his neck as he's just stood there, and that's halfway between it pinning him to the ground. Amazing that, isn't it? You'd think, look at him, it's just made one eye shut off him completely.
I thought that was in the Real Betis production of A Hunchback of Notre Dame, where he was like,
oh, was it?
Putting in the performance of a lifetime.
Performance of a lifetime. It would be everything he's done since he went there. He
entertained his teammates with it. He still spoke about it to this day.
Yeah, exactly. Antony's revealed his true feelings towards United weeks after leaving on loan.
Has he though? Really?
No.
He just said like 3 words about United?
He's revealed some feelings about United. Yeah. Arriving at Real Betis.
Since moving, arriving.
This has got Google Translate written all over it.
Since moving, arriving at Real Betis.
Since moving to Real Betis, Antony has made an instant impact, scoring 3 goals and assisting 1 across his 4 appearances for the Spanish side. Speaking to Spanish outlet AS, Antony said, "I played very little in Manchester, but I'm grateful to them and also to the coach who spoke to me. Fucking hell, low bar. Yeah? Can we agree that that's a low bar in terms of a relationship with a staff member? How was your relationship with Antony? Yeah, I spoke to him.
I want to know how bad it got between him and Sarag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
at least the bar is set like
spoke to
Amarin said hello to me now and again. He looked on to me, give me a little nod in the corridor. Like that's more than Sarag did. Jesus Christ. Yeah, all right, fair enough.
He spoke to me. I also have done very well in Manchester. I won 2 titles and I am very grateful. But when I say that here, I have found myself happiness. The people are like us in Brazil. The sun helps a lot. Fuck off. I am very happy here. Every day I wake up with a smile, and that is very important.
I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with anything he said there.
Oh, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
I mean, I get the titles
I was just saying
thing.
Fuck off because I wish the sun was here.
Hashtag don't buy the sun.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean...
The 2 titles things, obviously, that's trophies, isn't it? Mourinho used to do that.
Yeah. Probably it's just a small translatory semantic
Yeah, it's fine. We'll call them titles. He's playing well. He's doing well. I mean, hopefully we can get some dough for him. I don't think no matter how well he does there that coming back to Manchester United is going to be the answer. I think the reasons that he's given are why he's doing so well. He's enjoying his environment. He's enjoying his football. He's not got all the pressure that he had. And he's playing in a side that's doing better than United are at the minute, aren't they? Real better. So
I wonder if I know we've spoken about Brazilian players for Man United. The weather must be a big deal. Like coming to a not just a different country, different language, different culture, everything, but the weather, especially the football playing months, August to May, is so different to most of Brazil, isn't it? It's completely different.
Was it Lucas Moura? There was rumours when he came. Didn't he come here for the Olympics?
Oh yeah, he will have done.
With Brazil.
Yeah.
And he I think they might have played at Old Trafford, or I think it was pretty Old Trafford, and he hated it.
Yeah.
And it was like, I know he ended up at Spurs, which is London's hardly tropical compared to Manchester, but I think at the time he was like, this is freezing, it's raining, it's shit. Like this.
Because you get here as well. If you have a bit of a rocky start to the start of your career, all of a sudden you're in November, and I know he was at the Netherlands for a couple of years, so it's not. But again, it's warmer than it is here. It is different. But I just think from what you're used to for the first 17, 18 years of your life, the weather there, that must be a big thing. Because I get a bit sad during winter. Do you know what I mean? Everything's a bit like fucking
Where
gloomy.
was it that Riyad Mahrez went in Scotland? Remember? There was a story.
What, he played for someone?
Yeah. Right. Really? He went to somewhere right, I'm going to find this. I know this is...
If you put Riyad Mahrez Scotland, you'll find it.
He went on loan. He had a trial at St Mirren.
Yeah.
Right, now this is a player that...
That headline is fantastic, by the way, that we're seeing there.
And he fled on a borrowed bike. Right, it says Riyad Mahrez once fled a trial at St Mirren on a borrowed bike. Now I know that obviously Riyad Mahrez isn't from Brazil, but he's from a warmer climate, isn't he? And it said that he, from the cold at St Mirren, he hated it, so he had to escape.
I think if you're used to, weather between sort of 16 degrees in the winter and 35 degrees in the summer, or 40, whatever, 45 degrees, whatever it may be, it would be a big fucking shock to the system coming to England, and it's not just cold, but raining for like 200 days a year, and between 0 and 10 degrees for 4 of the 7, Premier League months of the season. I can see how that would be difficult, and he references it himself, doesn't he? So fair enough, fair play to him. Like you said, get some goals, be worth a little bit of money. Let's sell him for 30 million quid, 20 million, whatever it may be. fine. He's not going to work out at United. You can tell just from the way he speaks, he probably feels like a weight has been lifted off him as well. Like, go and enjoy yourself. We'll get some money for you. Don't worry about it. No hard feelings.
It all makes sense. Yeah. Akash K says, I think I'm going to have a stroke looking at these numbers. I'm really terrified of what is around the corner for our club for the next 5 years. Yeah. Also, I think Whitterburn has gifted another 5 Stretford Paddock memberships. Thanks to Vicky for doing that. What's on the horizon
what we got next? Can't see the wood for the fees.
Very good.
Very good. Yeah, spot on. Yeah. Can't argue with that. United will receive 50% of Greenwood's transfer fee from Marseille to PSG if a transfer goes through. This has been coming out this week, hasn't it, that there's a potential, well, I'll just get into it. Man United negotiated a huge sell-on fee in the deal with Marseille, and now Spanish publication Fichajes indicate that the Red Devils could be set for a huge €37 million windfall. French giants PSG have made a formal offer in quotes for Greenwood for around £62 million, with the Parisians keen to sign one of European football's emerging stars. The report adds that Man United reserved a 50% stake in any future sale, which means that if Marseille accept PSG's offer, United would receive €37 million of the £75 million agreed upon. Thoughts?
Makes sense. He's obviously doing well in Marseille. That's probably paved the way for other clubs to look at him and think, can we take a punt on him? He's still a talented footballer. And also the flack that Marseille have got for having him from reasons we know why he's not at Manchester United anymore. Maybe other clubs will look like we can stomach that. He's already probably had the worst reaction of it.
Yeah. Is it every club he goes to takes a majority, and then he sort of drops through the net with a bit less heat on him, a bit less, every time it's cooling down, isn't it?
Look, if we can get some money for Mason Greenwood moving to a club, then it's a bonus, in it, because he's nothing to do with us anymore, really. And if we can get like 30 million quid out of it, then hopefully we can invest that into someone who can play a part for Manchester United. And one thing I will say about all this, it does look like one of them stories that makes sense. Yeah. You think, okay, I could see that happening, but also they come out with some nonsense. It's very difficult. Like this is one of those stories where you think, okay, that might be true, it might even happen. But I've also seen the same publication saying that United are looking at other managers, and you think, well, who's told you that? Is Jim Ratcliffe told is he one of their sources? Yeah. They don't know that. It's just they've made it up.
They are a bit of a shit spinner of an outlet, but it doesn't mean everything they say is wrong. It just means I wouldn't say I trust it just because they've said it, for sure. And also, I think there is some suggestion as well that we would owe, is it Getafe?
Getafe have got like a percentage for...
Because they kind of took the initial kind of heat and punt on him, like we said. So I think they might get some of the money as well if that deal happens. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I saw
that was one of the rumours. Akash K, I think I've mentioned, I'll name this podcast later. Akash K has gifted 5 Paddock memberships, thank you. I'll name this podcast later has gifted a Stretford Paddock membership as well. Big thank you to also Vicky's, I think she's gifted 10 tonight, so Paddock memberships flying around, much appreciated. What's next on the agenda?
Yes, what have we got? The weekend for our new star boy.
The weekend, our new star boy. There you go. I like this.
Yeah. You know Starboy by The Weekend.
I love that song.
Do you?
I love the video as well, where he's like burgling the house. Yeah, it's mint.
It's good, that, isn't it?
Yeah, really good.
It works. Man United agreed terms with Giovanni Quenda. Ben Jacobs claims that United have reached an agreement over personal terms with Quenda. All that remains is agreeing a fee with Sporting. This is in quotes. The player has agreed verbally personal terms. He's waiting to see if the clubs pre-agree or agree or wait. A fee. Sorry, let me do that again. He's waiting to see if the clubs pre-agree a fee or wait until the summer, and the price United are looking at is €40 million, £33 million. Sporting want a minimum of €60 million, which is £50 million, blimey. There's a release clause at €100 million. Obviously, no one's going anywhere near that. So if United can get this one done south of 60, it's not only a good signing for now and the future, and a player Amarim knows really well, it's also another deal they can potentially get without being forced to pay more than they ideally want to. That's according to Ben Jacobs, who's pretty reliable. We have him on the channel.
Good lad, Ben.
Good lad. My only worry is, I like this guy. Is he 18 now, or is he still 17? And he's obviously a very young guy, teenager. Came through under Amarim at Sporting. And I keep saying this, I don't think we need to go for like...
He's still 17.
Okay, still
17. He's 17 till he's 18.
I don't think we need to go for sort of Lukaku, Di Maria, sort of Ronaldo kind of megastar players. I know Lukaku's a megastar, but big named...
Well, he's 80 million quid,
yeah. But I do worry that every single person we're linked with, whether that be Liam Delap, Quenda, obviously already happened with Dorgu, it seems like everyone we're linked with is completely unproven.
Yeah.
And I think like you need a balance, don't you? You can't just fill a squad with 11 players who in 2 years could be shit. Like I know Lukaku left after 2 years, but he wasn't like shit for either of those 2 years. He wasn't great, and he obviously went missing in big games all the time. But I take those 27 goals now, even though they weren't against the big teams. So, you know, our top scorer at the minute has got what, 7 goals? Do you know what I mean? I'd take another 20.
He scored 9 in his first 11.
Yeah, and I'd even though it was patchy and all this, I get it. I'd even take that Di Maria season. I know that he didn't last and it was a mess of a transfer, but he still got some goals and assists. I think he got 10 assists that season. No one's near that now. You know, Ronaldo, it was a mess, too much money. He changed the culture of the club, maybe even got Solskjaer sacked. He got 23 goals. It was our top goal scorer and it was 20 plus again. Like, United at some point do need to be linked with someone that has at least done it in their league. And I know Quenda's very promising, he's done it in that, but his numbers aren't amazing and he looks decent, but again, he's very raw. Dorgu's very raw. Delap's everyone we're linked with is very raw, unproven, you know, rough diamonds. And I think that's all well and good, but we might actually look at these diamonds and there's flaws and there's cracks in them. It's, you know, I don't know. I wish, at least with, again, using Gyökeres as the example I always use, at least he's done it. He has got 65 goals in a year. Like, I just think we need a bit of a balance here.
I agree completely what you said. The thing with this is, if you're going to do this,
yeah.
Right, I don't have a problem with this. We get this kid Quenda in, fantastic.
Yes.
Even if we got, let's say for example, I'm not saying we should, but let's say we got in Quenda and Delap.
Yeah.
That was your 2 main signings in the summer, yeah? And we've also brought in Dorgu and Aidan Heaven, who was a signing for £1.5 million, but they put him on the pitch. He's a signing, he's not just a kid. Do you know what I mean? I get all this, right? But then what you've got to remember, what you've got to do with this manager is not just give him till the end of next season. These are players that might take a season to get going. You've got to back this manager and have faith in him for the next 2 or 3 years.
In 2030, he'll be 22.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look at players like, you know, there's plenty of players that don't get good until their mid-20s.
Jesse didn't start till he was 23 for United.
Yeah.
I know he might, you know, in the end it didn't work out, but there was a time when Jesse Lingard was a regular for United and England and won trophies. So I think if you're going to do this, you have to do it with your eyes open and go, right, okay, if we buy, let's say, just for example, we buy Quenda, we buy Delap, we've just bought in Dorgu, we've just bought in Heaven. That doesn't mean that in 2026 United are going to win the title. No. It doesn't mean United are even being the top 4 necessarily. No. We might still be kicking around like 7th or 8th or whatever. I know we're not there now. But it might be one of those, another season transition. But these are young players who are sort of a means to an end. But you've got to back the manager with it. Because the last thing you want to do is, if saying end of 2026 you finish 6th, and you go, right, well that didn't work, did it? So sack Amorim, and then Delap's like, right, you know, great, the manager's brought me, he's no longer here. New manager comes in and he goes, well, I don't want Quenda, I don't want Dorgu, I don't want Delap. Get rid of all these. Yeah. Get me, you know, the proven striker, the proven fullback or whatever. Like, you've got to back the manager with time if you're going to back in with these young signings.
Yeah, you do.
Because even like a Patrice Evra, he was young, but he weren't 17 when he came in. Took a while to fit into Manchester United, and when he did, he was phenomenal.
But we had world-class players already there. 100%. We don't have that now.
100%. Even someone like Andy Cole, who I love, absolutely adore him. And I know he scored 12 out of 18 in his first season, but 5 of them came in one game against Ipswich. Yeah. Like, it took him a while to fully settle at United and to become that player that he became at United. So, you know, you can't just go, right, okay, here's some youngsters, but it's got to be instantaneous.
Because you look at Chelsea, who have done, obviously they spent way more than us, but have done a similar concept of, they're not buying like big names. I know they spent big money on Caicedo, but Moises Caicedo is a decent, you know, a very good player, but from Brighton, who's not particularly proven. He just happens to have done it, you know, for a mid-table team. But they've done a similar thing of getting younger, lesser-known players, generally lower fees, you know, your Mudryks and Caicedos aside, but they've tried to do it like that. But if Palmer hadn't come off the way it did, if they'd have got the exact same 1.6 billion quid's worth of players of a squad, but you take Cole Palmer out, they just happen to not buy him from Man City, they'd be where we are now. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we're going to do it this way, you have to get a Cole Palmer at some point. One of these has to turn into a world-class player, because otherwise you just stay shit. Like, you know, like I said, Chelsea bought so many players. Almost all of them are all right or worse. And then you've got Cole Palmer, who's been incredible since he got there, and he's dragged them from where they were, basically where we are now under Lampard, to challenge him for top 4. But what if they hadn't bought him? What if we don't get our Palmer?
You know what this reminds me of? 2003 summer.
Go on.
I was looking at it, right? Because we changed stats in 2003. I think Fergie saw the money coming into Chelsea, saw what else was going on, and thought, okay, we need to start thinking ahead, like getting in younger players. So you look at, we bought in a lot of young players. David Bellion.
Yeah.
Eric Djemba, Kleberson, Dong Fang Zhu.
Yeah.
Yeah? Right? Not the greatest,
No.
any of them. Also, during this period, or during this window, we brought in some kid called Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Who happened to be arguably the greatest player of all time, certainly one of them. We also brought in Louis Sahar in the January as well.
Yeah.
But we bought a load of youngsters.
Yeah.
And amongst those youngsters was a superstar. The trouble is, if you buy a load of youngsters and you don't get like you're saying there, it's a different thing, but it's a similar thing.
Yeah,
now.
no, it's the same thing.
I know that would make
Imagine,
sense, it's a scaled down version of what
the
Chelsea
manager.
did.
Imagine right now, this summer, United bought the modern equivalent of Bellion, Djemba, Kleberson, and Dong Fanju for Amrim. What is that? 5 players. You think one of the, we spent 125 million on those 5, fine, and that's it. We're fucked.
Yeah.
If you didn't get the Ronaldo in, if Amrim doesn't get his Ronaldo or his Palmer or whatever, this method, which can work, you can't just get all of those lot and not get your Ronaldo or not get your Palmer.
That's it.
Quenda, again, I'm picking on him because he's the person we're talking about. He seems very exciting. I want to sign him. I'd be really excited if we did. But I just hope we, at some point, get someone where you think, right, he's the one that actually is going to push on and be top class, because it's such a risk doing things this way. But again, very exciting player. And if you can get him for less than 50 million quid, then it seems like a decent deal, doesn't it?
I think we've got one more. What to talk about, obviously, the debt and what's going on here, the announcement there. What have you got for us?
What have we got? Just been asked by Sky Sports to sell Man United. No. Is that just happened? When's this just happened?
Oh, is that the... Right, okay. Sorry, I thought we were going to talk about the...
Well, we can talk about the debt now, can't
Yeah, because I was about to say, that was the thumbnail. Obviously, we've had reports today that United are basically still in £1 billion worth of debt because of the Glazers, because we've had to service this debt. It's not gone anywhere. We're still a mess. Obviously, when the Glazers came in, we weren't in any debt, I think, at all. And then because we've had to pay for their ownership, it's cost Manchester United £1 billion. We did a tweet sort of summing it up. I think Chris Wheeler reported it. So it says another 18.8 million in debt interest payments in the 6 months prior to December the 31st means that the interest cost of the Glazers leverage buyout is now over 1 billion. So 731 million quids of debt with over 300 million in transfer fees owed. Like, when I was messing about with my shares in Manchester United before and the $20 I've spent, that's probably more of my own money than they've spent of their own money on Manchester United. I know that sort of. I mean, me and you have spent grands on following United over the years. They spent none of their own money. They literally just got all these loans and used the club as the sort of collateral to pay for those loans. And we're still here. It was 2025. It's been 20 years of this.
You'd think there would have
to
be
billion.
Some level of, like, obviously we're looking back 20 years now, but that something of, yes, okay, you can do it this way, but we have to have a plan of how you're going to pay that debt off over 10 years. There's no way that a club like Man United should still be in the same debt that they were when the club was bought 20 years ago. They've basically not touched it. They've changed how they pay it. They've had new deals. I think there's some of it's up in 2027 as well, so they're going to have to renegotiate again now with higher interest rates, presumably, than they were when they last negotiated it, because of banking circumstances over the last couple of years. But surely they just, not only can you can buy the club based on the money that the club is worth, but you never have to put a time frame of when you're going to pay that debt off. That is insane that was allowed to happen.
No,
it's illegal now, it cannot happen again.
They called it the Glazer rule, didn't they?
Yeah,
they brought it in to stop it happening again.
That.
And you take a club and an institution like Manchester United and you put it in a position where it's just the fans are getting fleeced, the very club itself is put into... People might laugh when you say into jeopardy, but there is a jeopardy there when you're having such huge figures. I know we're a massive, massive club and a massive institution, but it's just ridiculous it's allowed to happen. Whitbird says Enzo or Bruno, I think, talk about players there we brought in. But yeah, I mean, look, it's so frustrating that we're still there. It is frustrating as well because with all the negativity and everything that's gone with Ineos, it doesn't look like there's much light at the end of the tunnel here in a minute, and a lot of people are getting frustrated because they feel like Ratcliffe's coming in and that's sort of enabled the Glazers to keep going. We're going to have to see how it pans out. I always felt that Sir Jim Ratcliffe eventually was going to force the Glazers out, but I don't know if that's true that is. And obviously, the quote we've got from, which one was it? I don't care. One of the Glazer dickheads.
Everyone, I think.
Thank you. Saying, are you going to sell United? No. I mean, I don't know if that's true. We've been waiting for them to sell for 20 years. They haven't. Yeah. Do you know what annoys me as well about the Glazers?
Go on.
Everything annoys me. But I can't even respect them, right, to a degree of a grudging respect for being good business people that managed to make this deal happen. Because they fucking didn't. They inherited it when Malcolm died. Daddy died and give it him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's like they inherited this, they fucking ran it into the ground, we're still in all this debt, and they look like knobheads.
Yeah. Other than that, they're all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing we've not touched on 1,000 times, but it's just another, our quarterly reminder of how shit Man United's owners are.
And you know what, right? People asking in the chat, we need to get them out. I agree. We've all done the protest, whether it's online, whether it's outside the ground. I remember being there in 2005 when it was announced people were protesting. We've done it. We've done the, Steve always talks about the flash mob stuff that went on. We've had the green and gold. We've had the getting the game postponed. I mean, people say that was about the Super League. It wasn't just about the Super League. It was about the Glazers' ownership as well, on the whole. We've done a lot of protests, whether that's physical protests, and there's more going on. You spoke to Steve from the 58, didn't you?
Yeah, before the Arsenal game on the 9th of March.
I think that went out this morning, that video, a really good interview with him. There's more planned, like Joe was saying there, ahead of the Arsenal game. So if you can get down there and you want to voice your opinion, please do. And if not, you always got access, do stuff online. Let us know your thoughts, man. Give us a shout. We've always spoken out about the Glazers and against the Glazers. We fucking hate them. And they just, they continue to be a massive drain on Manchester United. They really do. Going to leave it there. Going to be back tomorrow. Yep. Happier times tomorrow. Got the news in the morning. Then what happens?
We got off the bar.
Who's on it?
Me, you, Steve, Adam McCullough.
What?
Yeah, gonna be great.
Me, you, Steve, and Adam McCullough on a podcast.
All four of us.
Together.
Loving it.
That's mental. Right, okay then. Well, looks like we're all going to be on a podcast tomorrow. Whitbird in the chat says, but Brailsford needs calling out. Fine, call him out as well. There's plenty of people that need calling out, and I'm happy to call out Dave Brailsford with his marginal gains. We're going to be back tomorrow with the Off the Bar. Go and check Joe out, meanwhile, on the Sloppy Joe's podcast. You got a new episode out today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
What about today? Slacking.
Tuesdays and Fridays.
Pathetic. Go and check out the Sloppy Joe's podcast. You know where to find me as well. That's been Joe. I've been Jay. This has been Paddock Live. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.